Hello. Hello, Shaz. Hello, Angie. Hello, Samara. I'm waiting for Pink Lady Luck because she probably knows way more about this electroshock. Electroconvulsive is how they call it, therapy, than I do. I know a little bit about it from my research. From what I understand, they usually only administer that after conventional treatments like medications and therapy don't work. Oh, okay. I sent you the link in a text message, Pink. And that's what I understand, is that when conventional methods don't work, and they do treat it mostly for schizophrenia, but they also treat it for bipolar disorder and other mental health issues. Also, from what I understand, it's not anywhere near what, if any of you saw One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, it's not anywhere near what that was about, or how that was, that was portrayed. Not nowadays, anyways. It's a lot different. It's a lot more. It's a lot more. They take a lot more care. You're under general anesthetic. Hey, Gingerlocks. Good morning. You're under a general anesthetic before a seizure is. And I'm not quite sure how it works, but I know they send. They attach electrodes to your brain, and it's like they shoot like electric shock, I guess, through your brain. And it can result in some memory loss. From what I understand from my research I did, it is 70% effective, which that's 30% that it's not effective with. I also watched a Broadway play, which is funny when I say that, because it's a musical, and it's called Next to Normal, and it's on YouTube, and you can look it up. But it's all about depression and how I'm understanding, from what I understand, because I didn't watch the play, this woman lost her child suddenly and went into a depression, and nothing was working for her. And so she goes into her doctor recommends electroshock or electroconvulsive. I keep wanting to say electroshock, but he recommends electroconvulsive therapy. And so she goes for that. But it entails a lot more than what you think. Y'all mad scientists need to keep your battery cables away from my brain. Yeah, no, it's not like, One Flew. Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought I sent it to her in a text message. I'm sitting there trying to educate you guys. And I'm just actually learning about this, because until a couple months ago, I didn't even know they still administered that, because I'm still in the days of One Flew Over a Cuckoo's Nest. Hey, Mr. Positive. I mean, I've been lucky that my medication in combination with therapy has worked for me. Okay, I sent you another link. So I'm lucky that way, but from what I understand, it's usually administered when all else fails. It's kind of like an all else fails, when medication and therapy doesn't work, and your doctor actually recommends, hey, Gemma, and your doctor has to recommend it. And it's funny because I watched one story of this girl that, because they did it in groups, and she was in a group, and because she was the calmest one in the group, they had her go last. And she said she got traumatized because she watched the other people that went before her, because you actually have seizures when you get this therapy, this kind of therapy. So hopefully, I don't know if Pink is working, but they really have had good results from electroconvulsive therapy, meaning that, that they've had good results. It's not barbaric. It's not although they have said, and I have read, that some patients complain about some sort of memory loss. They're not sure about the brain damage as of yet. Hey, lady.
Good morning.
Good morning. You see, I did my homework, some of it.
Yes, you did.
I sure did.
I'm very proud of you.
Thank you. I'm still really not 100% understanding how it works, but I did listen to the doctors that were talking about it. And this play that I was mentioning, Next to Normal, they said that's a really good portrayal of, it's a musical, believe it or not, but it's a good portrayal of electroconvulsive therapy.
Oh wow, I've never heard of that. So can you guys?
It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, Carla, I got your link on my cell phone, but I don't know I'm on my laptop, so I don't know how to.
Okay. Oh, that's all right. I mean, that's fine. I could put it in.
I suppose I could have emailed it to, but yeah. So yeah, just a little history on ECT. Shock treatments. It was invented in Italy in the late 1930s, and they discovered that inducing a seizure would relieve symptoms of not cure it, but relieve symptoms of mental illness. And I think before then they said they used a drug, a chemical drug called metrazole, but the side effects were described as terrifying.
Did you also, I don't know if you read this, but another one of the experiments that they tried was keeping a patient awake for 10 or 11 days, which turned out to be a disaster because it was really not good for them. And I don't know how they kept them awake for that long, but that was another, they tried everything because, they wanted a cure.
Right.
A cure.
And that's what Italian researchers were looking for, a safer, more humane, less fearful way of these treatments. Thus came the shock treatments, which we think, how is that humane? Or because it's been portrayed, like you said, in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, as inhumane. But what they used to do, they used electric shock treatments as a form of discipline in mental institutions. So it wasn't even being used, and that's how they portrayed it in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, as a form of discipline, to calm people down. So that's one of the myths that people, or one of the things people see when they hear electric shock.
Well, and another thing was, and I watched it wasn't a documentary, it was a short little thing, but they asked that one of the questions was, is there any brain damage because they're getting seizures? They're having seizures. And the only thing that they have noticed from this kind of treatment is maybe the patients, and it's not all the patients, are a little fuzzy or have a slight memory loss.
Temporary.
Temporary, yeah. Sometimes for a couple months, sometimes for a couple days. It just depends on the patient. And not everybody responds to electroconvulsive therapy.
Right. It's a
That's
last
70%.
it's a last resort. I'm just going to try to put this in layman's term and try to omit medical terminology. It's a last resort when medications like antidepressants or antipsychotics or a combination of different meds with therapy, behavioral modification, any types of therapy have failed. So it's really a last resort. Some people describe it who have had it as life-saving for them. Um, the memory loss is the biggest concern that people have, and it's described as temporary. It's very rare that there is permanent memory loss, but it is a risk nonetheless. It is a risk.
Right.
But the people who have had it describe it as, risk and benefits, that their depression, along with other comorbidities, which comorbidity is the presence of having two or more conditions. So you wouldn't qualify for a shock treatment to say if you just had severe anxiety. Comorbidity means other things along with it, with depression, bipolar. But people have described it who have had it as helping them because without it, their lives were more unmanageable, dealing with depression, suicidal ideation.
Exactly. And I watched two, and they were both women. And one she couldn't get through nursing school because of her complete depression, and she couldn't do it. So it helped her. The other
should have gotten that during nursing school.
And yeah,
nursing
it helped
school
her. She got through nursing school and became a nurse and blah, blah, blah. But the other one, the other one that I watched that had it did not help her. So,
Yeah, it's not effective with everybody.
No, it isn't. It's like 70, they said 70% effective.
Yeah. So it's basically it's for treatment resistant depression, meaning, when all else has failed.
Oh,
last resort.
Em Rose said she had ECT done on and off for years, saved her life.
Yeah. And another myth is a lot of people think, that, ECT is a miracle cure, and it isn't. Again, it's not 100% effective. It's not a cure, as people might think. And a lot of people think another myth is that they'll get injured during the seizure. Now, back when these were being done in the 30s, 40s, 50s, I don't even know about 50s. That's what we see like on YouTube videos of a person being awake. A nurse is holding them down while the doctor is administering the electricity, and he's got a wooden spoon in the mouth. These people are awake, and when a seizure is induced, there is a risk of injury, biting tongue. Your limbs are thrashing all over the place. What they do now is they put a patient under general anesthesia. They induce a seizure that is up to no more than 20 seconds, 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's very, very short.
Right. So it does not cause brain damage. So a lot of people still have that in their mind who, knew a grandparent or a great grandparent or knew about mental institutions back in those eras. That's what ECT treatments were like. But now you go under general anesthesia. You're also given a muscle relaxant.
Very, very, very controlled. It's not nearly what One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is. And she said, she even said, the doctor that was talking about it, she goes, most of the patients that come in with this are too young to have even watched that movie. So they don't really know about that movie. Some do, some don't. But it has saved
Right.
some lives. It's saved some lives.
Yeah, and there's no evidence of any like structural brain damage
No.
with ECT. Again, like you mentioned, there is slight memory loss of recent events. So they found out not long term, but recent events, and that usually resolves within a few months after treatment ends. The memory loss happens with treatments.
Right.
And treatments, I think, can go up to 12 weeks, 2 to 3 times every couple of weeks. So it's not an ongoing, thing where you have done every day. But again, there are some people who've claimed they've had permanent short-term memory loss. But again, that's one of the risks, and people have to outweigh their risk and benefits.
Well, I'm sure doctors actually discuss it with patients and give them the scenario of what the risks could be before they. I mean, you have got it's too. This is for schizophrenia, and I have no idea about. I'm bipolar, but I have no idea what schizophrenia entails. If it's like, hearing voices. I don't really know what that is because I've never had that, kind of experience. But yeah.
Yes, because I wish
I don't really know. I wish I knew exactly what schizophrenia was, because most of the research that I was doing was directly related to schizophrenia.
Yeah, schizophrenia is hallucinations, delusions. Their thinking is disorganized. I wish Dana, somebody should reach out to Dana. She's good in the mental health department.
I don't know if she's up. What is it there? 8 o'clock. And does anybody know how to reach out to Dana a little bit?
I can text. Hold on.
I don't have her. I never talked to her.
Dana, let me just.
But I did do my research, and I did watch a lot. And you guys need to. And believe it or not, this Broadway musical called Next to Normal is all about mental illness and how her family reacts to her, and how she, at the end of it, she has no choice but to get it. And then the doctor has to recommend you get it too. It's not just you go in there one day and say, I want electroconvulsive therapy. You have to have tried, different forms of, therapy. Like I'm talking about meds and therapy. This is for patients that nothing has worked for.
Have you heard of magnetic seizure therapy?
Never.
Did you run into that at all, Carla?
No, haven't.
So it's another form. It's like ECT, electric, but it's magnetic. And Utah Southwestern University are doing clinical trials on this. But instead of using electricity, they use magnets to stimulate the brain. And I believe they said that the magnetic therapy carries fewer memory loss symptoms.
Oh, really? Interesting. I probably would have researched it, but I had not in mind.
And also they're doing the drug ketamine, which has been approved by the FDA, I think back in 2019, as therapy for treatment-resistant depression. So ketamine, I don't know enough about. What I know about kind of is scary to me, but those are because of videos I've seen about ketamine, which probably aren't accurate at all. But
well,
there's a lot of studies being in the works in clinical trials for like magnetic seizure therapy, ketamine. So as far as mental health, I think it's promising for those, suffering with
Ginger said she hates ketamine. I have no idea what that is, to be honest with you. I can't even remark on it. I don't know what that is. Does that induce does the magnetic, whatever you were talking about, does that induce seizures? Or ketamine is scary, but microdosing probably not so much.
Yeah, exactly. Microdosing. I think it's for maintaining like an anesthesia type, like being in an anesthesia. But it's I don't know. I'm sure if you get it off the street or something, it's not good. It's going to be supervised by physicians and like
Ginger said
microdose. Yeah.
that they gave her when her spine was fused. It made her trip. I have no idea about what it is. I'm so off the beaten path. With the only medication I take is I take Wellbutrin and Depakote, and I take sleeping pill at night, and that's it. And therapy, along with therapy, and that seems to keep me in balance. And I've been taking that for years.
I want to play. I'm not going to show the video because I don't want copyrights or anything. This is just going to be audio. Because neither me nor Carla are experts in this, nor do we promote it. We're just giving you what we learned about it. I am in the medical field, but I would never recommend anything. That's something you have questions about this. You would go to your doctor to inquire about it. But this is just a little synopsis from about ECT to treating severe depression. So hold on. Oh, I got my blue. Oh, here we go.
The brain is the most complex organ in the human body.
Can you hear that?
It controls almost everything. But sometimes imbalances can disrupt normal function, causing any number of abnormalities and ailments, including mood disorders, such as depression. ECT is given to treat depression, and it is sometimes used to treat other mental illnesses like catatonia and bipolar disorder, when other treatments have not worked.
Electroconvulsive therapy involves delivering electricity to the brain to cause a generalized seizure. And then we do a series of seizures over 2 to 3 times a week over 2 to 4 weeks to treat the psychiatric condition that brought the patient into treatment.
The idea that seizures would help depression came from observing people with epilepsy. It was observed that after an epileptic patient woke up from a seizure, the individual was much calmer, and their behavior was better controlled.
Essentially, it's the brain's response to its anticonvulsant or its anti-seizure effect may actually be the therapeutic element.
But what exactly is depression?
Depression is not simply being sad or having a bad day. Depression is a medical condition that is a combination of symptoms.
I would describe depression as having kind of a great big gray kind of over you. You feel very dull and heavy.
I was extremely tired a lot. I got increasingly bad-tempered. It came on very quick, and it was quite severe. I clearly was not myself.
These are actual patients.
The main problem was depression presenting as anxiety and nervous tension.
I didn't want to talk to people. I didn't want to hang out anymore. I really became withdrawn.
Depression is the primary mental illness that is treated with ECT. ECT is often recommended when antidepressant medications are not effective, or if they cause unacceptable side effects.
So it's often used in patients that have tried some of these other treatments and they haven't responded well. And so we might go to electroconvulsive therapy, ECT, to see if that will work for them.
ECT is also called for when a patient is dangerously suicidal and can't wait the 2 or 3 weeks to see if the medication will be effective.
Before I knew what was going on, I was threatening to kill myself. And that always gets doctor's attention. And my wife said to me at one stage, I think we ought to go to the emergency room.
Over the years, ECT has been improved and refined. The popular novel and movie, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, depicted ECT as painful and inhumane.
The difference is they used it in the movie as a punishment. Very different than the therapeutic version of ECT that we would do today.
A therapy that is the best hope for many depressed people.
I really wanted something that would work quickly and effectively to get me back into my life again.
I was really not surprised when they brought up the suggestion.
Most patients that come in for ECT need anywhere from 6 to 12 treatments to get the full benefit. The number of treatments an individual patient might need is kind of dynamically determined based on how they're responding to the treatment. And some patients are better within 3 or 4 treatments and side effects. And so we try to make sure we get the greatest efficacy with the fewest side effects.
Candidates for ECT treatments are carefully screened to be sure their heart is stable and that they are otherwise healthy enough to go through the procedure safely. ECT can be done on an outpatient basis, but not everyone can go home the same day. A patient will often stay in the hospital overnight, especially if this is their first treatment.
I felt that I was well cared for. Everything was explained to me well.
When an outpatient arrives for their ECT treatment, they will arrive at the
Okay, so those are actual patients. It's not like a promo for a medical company or a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically, facts about ECT. And yes, there are contradictions. If you have any cardiac problems, if you have an aneurysm, some people have brain aneurysms that are inoperable, things like that. If you've had a history of a stroke, it's contraindicated. So, but it is fascinating because they really don't know how this works because the brain is so complex. But they have found that inducing a seizure does help. It's pretty fascinating. So I know that I'm adopted, and when I found my biological mother, I found out years later, and it was taboo. It was kept a secret, and this was in the 80s and I found out in the 90s, I think, that my biological grandmother and aunts had ECT. And my first response was, oh my gosh, are they crazy? And forgive me, but I was very ignorant. Mm-hmm. To ECT treatments because of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And as you can see, that video that was made a couple of years ago even mentions it because it did leave a stigma to a lot of people in that era. And I thought because they had ECT that they were schizophrenic or suffered this really severe mental illness. And I was, and I asked about them, like, well, why did they get it? And I was told they were depressed. So I automatically thought that they were lying to me. I associated ECT with severe, like schizophrenia.
No.
Right. And thank God I am a curious person. I love to learn. And I learned over the years that it isn't true.
Well, it's administered when a doctor thinks you're not responding to conventional medications and therapy,
right?
And there's no other option. I mean, you have to do something. I mean, these people threaten suicide. I know I'm not supposed to say that word on YouTube, but it's some people are in desperate need of something. They want to get better. They want to feel normal. Mm-hmm. There is a normal, and they haven't been able to do it with conventional means. What I mean is, and I don't pretend to be an expert on this. I just did a lot of research on it. They just want to feel like you and me. You have bad days, you have good days. They just want to be a normal human being. That's what they want.
Right. And it's not, depression isn't something that, sometimes we've heard, snap out of it. You're stronger than you think. Things like that.
Right.
Depression it's hard to explain. I suffered situational depression, meaning, a particular event in my life that put me in a bad depression. And I'll tell you something. I mean, I always thought depression was just being sad, like having that dark cloud following you.
Mm-mm.
But when you truly experience depression, you can't find a way out as much as you want to. And you try and you try and you try. And it's frightening. It's very frightening.
Well, I say the difference between depression and being sad. You're sad. Like I was sad when my parents passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Depression is a totally different
It's
entity.
hopelessness.
It's
Yeah.
like you don't see the end of the you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's like you walk around with a cloud over you, and there's just you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. You can be sad and not depressed. I was sad when my mom passed away, but I wasn't in a deep depression. I have been in a deep depression, and it's not fun.
Right. Was it Shaz 73 who mentioned dementia?
Not sure, she might have.
ECT with dementia? I wouldn't that be
I
something?
don't know. That's another thing that I looked into too, because they said that these elderly people were getting treatments, and they were they were told, their family members were saying, like, you brought my family member brought to us
For
back.
dementia?
I'm not sure if it was dementia. It was others. It was other things too. But yeah,
Yeah.
with the electroconvulsive therapy.
So for those in the chat who have mentioned, or maybe there's more than one person, of having ECT treatments, we appreciate you sharing that with us.
Oh, absolutely.
Because, knowledge is power, and, all we can do is we can learn from others. And that's what I love about, social media, that we can learn from others. And mental health, yes, Angela, has come a long way. It seems to a lot of people that it's taken a back seat, mental health, because I know in my state, which is probably for a lot of states, the first cuts in the fiscal budget are mental health cuts.
Well, to be honest with you, when I first came on, and I've always been completely honest about my bipolar disorder, but when I was first diagnosed with bipolar, I was ashamed. I really was. I was like, well, everybody's going to call me crazy. You're going to think I'm nuts. No, I'm not anymore. I know it's an actual illness.
Mm-hmm.
I would more than likely have to be on medication for the rest of my life, because I actually asked my doctor, how long will I have to be on medication? He said, probably the rest of your life. It's at this point, you've got a defect in your brain. I'm not saying I'm like brain damaged, but it's a real thing.
Yeah, your wiring is a little bit different.
Yeah, the wiring is a little off.
As I found in my experience being around people with bipolar, it's very common because, like you said, these are people that will be on medicine the rest of their lives. And it's peculiar that a lot of people that I've either taken care of or that I know personally stop taking their meds because they describe it as feeling so, and I hate to use the word normal. I don't mean it in the sense that they're abnormal, but they feel so well mentally that they convince themselves they don't need that medication, and they stop it.
I actually did that.
Yeah, and it's very common. I found in my experiences around patients, would be readmitted or admitted to hospital because, they stopped and they went into a depression or mania. And the first question is, are you still taking your medication? And a lot of them were, no, I stopped. I felt fine. I didn't need it.
And that's how you feel. You actually feel that. And then when the medication wears off, you really, and I don't know if this schizophrenia or what, but you actually think it's everybody else is seeing the difference in you. You
Right.
don't feel different, and you think it's all everybody else. And that's what I did. I went off for a year, and until the point my husband said, either you go back or we're getting a divorce. And I did not see where I was like, he's crazy. I'm not any different, but I was. I
Right.
can see
Right.
that now looking back, but I didn't see it at the time.
And it's okay to be on medicine. It's like no different than having, diabetes or having to be on insulin, or it's a disease of the brain, not of the pancreas, but of the brain. It's just a different organ in your
Right.
body. And I'm so glad that mental health, is progressing and moving forward despite, and it's sad because, like I said, whenever there are fiscal cuts in our state, the first units to close in the hospital are the mental health units. And I don't understand it. There's such a need for mental health treatment. And that's what I'd like to see change.
And a lot of those people that are in the hospital for that don't have a family to fall back on. I do. Luckily, I have my husband who's very supportive of me, but not everybody does have that, And he understands when I have the need to, because I'll tell you, the medication is not a cure, okay? I'm not cured of bipolar. I'll never be cured completely. And I still have my manic episodes and stuff, but he knows how to he knows how to handle that with me. He knows what it is.
Yes, and a lot of people do describe, someone just mentioned someone being a completely different person. I know with ECT treatments, family members have described their loved one, struggling, suffering with depression or any kind of mental illness, as after these treatments, their loved one was a completely different person, meaning in a positive way, life-saving. It's been described as life-saving for some. But again, it's something that, one would have to speak to their psychiatrist, their doctor about it. We're not here to promote it.
No.
Giving you info, and Carla and I, we're not experts on it, but it is interesting. And I think it helps to alleviate a lot of the stigmas that some people still have when they hear about mental illness.
I think knowledge is power. I mean, the more you understand, because some people, you can go. I went undiagnosed for many years before I actually went to my doctor and got into, because it's a process.
Carla, why was that? Can you share, why was it that you didn't seek treatment, or?
It's kind of embarrassing, but I had a really bad episode at home where I actually was in a really bad depression. I was screaming at my husband, and I actually had to go into he had to call an ambulance for me. That's how bad it was. And I had to go and he actually had me committed for 72 hours, because you can do that as a spouse. Mm-hmm. And that's when, after that, we had therapy in the hospital. They give you therapy in the hospital. 72 hours is not enough to cure anybody. But after that, I decided that I needed help managing what I was going through. And I realized that being in the hospital. And so I went and and honestly, it took them 2 years to get me on the right cocktail of medication for me, because everybody is different. Okay. they give you, they experiment. I'm not saying they experiment with you, but they experiment with different medications to see what's right for you. And after 2 years, they got the right cocktail for me. So yeah, that was a bad time in my life, really bad time.
Prior to that, Carla, looking back,
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to answer this, I'm just curious, were you in therapy and just misdiagnosed, or
No,
you just
I was.
attributed it to life and stress and raising a family?
I thought I had a few panic attacks, so I chalked it up to just life, stress. I was working at the time. I just chalked it up to I'll be okay, because it always passed eventually. But that one time that I just went off the rails and I had to be admitted in the hospital, that was when I realized I need someone to tell me what's wrong with me, because I was to the point where my husband was afraid to leave me alone because he thought he would come home and find me dead. That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
And I couldn't put him through that because it wasn't fair to him. And because not that I had threatened anything, just he was petrified. He was scared. He didn't know what he was coming home to every day. And I thought, this is so not fair to him. I love this man and I'm putting him through hell.
Yeah.
And so I went to the doctor and they diagnosed me finally. But it took long.
Excuse me for a minute. Stronger Now. Is that you, Purple Orchid? Is that her?
I'm not sure.
Because I've been asking about her so much.
She's saying it's Purple Orchid.
Yeah. Oh my God, I miss you so much. You haven't done a video in such a long time, and I kept asking people, like, does anyone know where she is? Is she okay?
I remember the name. Would you like to come up on panel?
Oh my God. It's so good to see you back.
I remember that name, but that's like a blast from the past.
She did a lot of videos on, I believe, her experiences with mental health, and yeah, I've been sub to her for a long time, but she hadn't done a video in a while. You've been away for 10 months.
Wow. Yeah, it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to share, like a lot of, and I went through a lot of stuff when I was younger. I mean, my sister and I went through, a lot of things when we were younger, when we were growing up, that I still to this day have a problem in discussing it and talking about it. So therapy is not, sometimes it's hard to go back there. And my doctor explained it to me as, you sometimes block out certain things in your memory. And I have long COVID.
She had COVID for a long time. Yes, and
wow.
it affected her walking.
Wow.
Also, with ECT, you might see a video or, where they put one electrode on one side of the brain, unilateral. But they're finding bilateral, like an electrode on both sides of the brain, is more effective. But they're saying that most patients that receive ECT treatments get the bilateral treatment, meaning an electrode on both sides.
They actually have a video on YouTube that shows the process.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you are under, I mean, for those that are afraid of it, they're under general anesthetic. It's not like they put something under it's all very well supervised. It's not something that you're aware of. You know what I mean? You're not awake when they're doing this. You're asleep.
Right.
She said exhaustion, lack of strength, but getting stronger mentally. I'm back.
Good.
That's good to hear. I remember that name. I really do.
She's sweet.
I remember every name with purple in it.
She also speaks a lot about empaths, people who are She has a good channel. Check her out if someone can drop her link.
Yeah,
Or
can someone drop her link in here? I had no idea that was her, but I know the name. Yeah, Stronger Now. That's a good name, actually. Very good name. But yeah, that's my research that I did. I don't know much more about it. I know what my experiences have been with mental illness, but I wouldn't even pretend to know what other people, go through or have gone through in this, and I'll tell you one thing though, this community has not been good for somebody that suffers with mental illness.
Right.
It really isn't. It's really, really hard.
It's very hard. It's just so toxic, and you really have to navigate around and be good to yourself, and realize that if you go into these big drama, any kind of drama channels, I don't even call them drama anymore. They're so hateful that
it's not drama. What it is bashing.
Yeah,
And that's how it is.
You're putting your mental health at risk. You really are. And if you don't have depression or anxiety and you expose yourself to that kind of environment, you will get depression and anxiety. It will affect you.
Well, I always wonder about these people
that
take great pleasure. And I've seen it in multiple chats, because sometimes I'll just lurk, and I've seen it in multiple chats, these people, and I'll mute the creator, and I'll see in multiple chat this gang mentality of just annihilating somebody in a chat. And I'm thinking to myself, they don't know what this person is like. I didn't know about Morbid Angel going through,
oh my God, I couldn't even sleep last night.
Yeah, that's how I was.
Waking up, and then I would watch her videos.
Yeah.
It was just, and then I kept, this is awful to say, but I kept, like last night, I was having trouble sleeping, and I'd watch her videos, and I'm like, this is just a really bad prank somebody did. Like, I was hoping.
We were kind of hoping for. Yeah,
I was. Remember Montana Sky? I knew the minute he came into your chat, I was like, oh no. Oh, I'm the nephew. What?
Then I felt for that one, and I thought, this is just a cruel joke, because
oh my God, you guys are all crying, and I remember saying, this is a prank. This no nephew would, first thing they do is jump on YouTube,
Yeah.
No.
Well, it wasn't even him. Supposedly, it was his nephew. But
right.
Yeah, this is true. This is real. And, thank God I went through our private messages between me and her. And the last thing we had said to each other was, I love you. She said, I love you to me. And I said, I love you. So, I have that. I have those messages. I have our voice chats. And, I will keep them, and I will, treasure them.
Of course. And it was a shock. Because, some people are very, very private.
Mm-hmm.
And
I felt so guilty too. I was like, what? Because I'm reading the last message that I had with her, and I'm like, why didn't she tell me? Why didn't I know? And how? Because she was talking about her insurance, how she was traveling, she's having problems with her insurance, and I'm like, why didn't I pick up on it? Why didn't I ask more questions? But you know how you don't want to pry too much.
Yeah, you don't want to be intrusive. But something, I thought about this a lot, and I'm a lot like her in the way that I don't like burdening people. I have a hard time asking for help or reaching out, or feeling like I've got this, and I don't want to upset other people or make them worry. I think she was a lot like that. She always was positive, and I just think that she wanted to be a light.
I said it. She wanted to do it her way, and I respect.
Right.
Except, you have guilt. Yeah, at least me, I have guilt feelings that I didn't reach out to her more often. I mean, we stayed in touch. We always did. We had a little hiccup where we didn't get along, and she had reached out to me, and she goes, this is so silly. She goes, we've been friends for 8 years, to let YouTube get in the way of an 8-year friendship. That was last year. She goes, is crazy.
It is, because then you have all these people that can't mind their business and have an opinion, and it just gets
because
worse.
They wanted to see it. They wanted to see her and I fight. And behind the scenes, we were fine. And I was fine with her, having her channel. And I would go and I would watch. I wouldn't talk in there because every place I went, I would get attacked or jumped on or blah, blah, blah. So I would just stay clear of a lot of channels. But, she would come in here every once in a while and say hello and tell me how she was doing and about her grandbabies. So I don't have guilt that way, but I have kind of guilt that I didn't know and I didn't reach out to her more. And JoJo was on my panel yesterday because we were remembering her. And she was a mess too, because she was like, I didn't know. I had no idea. None of us did. She didn't. Well, unless someone knew that we didn't know about and didn't share it, but we didn't know. And that's what I feel guilty about. Not how we left our last conversation. Our last conversation was, I love you too. That was the last conversation with her. So
yeah, and I think too, and not to say that you would ever, if she came to you in confidence, not to say that you would ever share it out on YouTube, but I think we've seen on YouTube when people are sick, have a terminal illness, what they've gone through. No, I know someone on YouTube who is very sick, and she will not tell anybody. I mean, I'm hoping she'll pull through, but it's that fear of, having to go through, having to prove you're sick, or
people saying you're lying, or they're not believing you, and saying like, screw it, I won't even share.
I won't. I won't. I mean, did I ever think when I first came to YouTube we'd get to a point where if you were in the hospital that you'd have to prove it?
Show receipts. Oh, show receipts, or it didn't happen. That's.
And people are actually showing their hospital bans. And
if someone tells me they're sick, I take their word for it. I take that for granted. Now, if they're not really sick, that's on them. It's not on me.
Right.
I'm not going to say, I want to see your hospital records. I want to see this. I want to see that. No, I'm not going to do that to anybody. I wouldn't want it done to me.
No.
Mm-mm. But yeah, I felt that's the guilt I felt with her, was just not knowing. And she just never, and I went through our messages and I was trying to decipher everything. Did she try to tell me and I didn't see it? Or no, there was nothing. There was no talk about, just the only thing close to anything about health was about how she was having problems with her insurance, getting them to pay for whatever treatment she was getting. But I always thought it was her back. I had no idea it was,
I knew she had asthma.
She had a lot of health issues. She really did.
But maybe it happened so fast that, well, I don't know. I mean,
I've heard someone say that she was diagnosed 3 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
So now don't quote me on that, because you know what, you hear all kinds of stuff on YouTube. But I heard someone say that she was diagnosed rather recently and passed, when she passed 2 days ago. So guys, yeah, YouTube bullshit, not worth it.
No,
not worth it.
There's still a part of me that keeps saying this is a prank. I think we all have to go through this shock, and hopefully we can find some kind of closure, because it was such a shock. I mean, when I was on my way home from my sunset live stream, and I see a community post from BTS, And I'm like, and then when I went live, I'm like, oh, I must have read it wrong. And that's when Ginger Locks came in, and I'm like, does Carla, I first thought of you, Carla, because I know you two have been friends for a long, long time. And I was really hoping
and I
read
really
something
didn't know.
wrong.
And they posted a link to her boyfriend's chat in our
Yeah.
Discord. And I
Yeah.
looked at the title and I'm like, am I seeing this? I'm like, am I seeing this? Am I seeing this right? And I couldn't believe it. So I went to a very short video, like 15
Yeah.
seconds or something. And I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Because she had been in my chat not even a couple months ago, it was a couple weeks ago, talking about her grandbabies. And
Yeah, she had twins. Yeah, twin grandbabies.
But I had noticed that she wasn't going live as often, but then I chalked that up to she had a boyfriend, and you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought too. I was like, good for her, you know.
She seemed happy, and I'm glad she had someone at the end, you know, that was there for her. So, yeah. But that's, you know, that was a shock. I was in complete disbelief.
It still is. I'm still in disbelief. I just.
Yeah, she was a sweet. She had a laugh as big as Texas.
Oh my God, was it infectious? But what a beautiful smile.
Oh, always. And she's, you know, I met her during when they were picking a jury for the Jodi Arias trial.
Okay.
And we were in all the same groups. And she used to, I don't know why, she was outspoken, and she used to get herself in Facebook jail all the time. Every couple weeks or so, I would get a new friend request, and it would be from her with a different name. And I would like, oh my God, what did you do this time? And, you know, she would just always keep in touch that way. She always made sure I knew where she was. And, yeah, she was very verbal and outspoken, but that was her. That was the way she was.
Did you ever meet her?
No, we FaceTimed.
Yeah.
FaceTimed. We had planned on it. We had planned on meeting, and we had planned on, you know, but you know, then COVID hit. And, yeah. So, but you know, we were, you know, people say you can't have real life friends on, you know, on the internet. I beg to disagree. She was a real friend. And, you know, she was my friend for 9 years. We had a hiccup in between, but that's YouTube. I mean, we never had any problems on Facebook. Never, ever did we have a fight. And a matter of fact, I brought her over to YouTube. And when we had that little hiccup in our relationship, I was like, so sorry I had put her into YouTube and all this bullshit, because it was like, but then she, you know, we all both found our way, and we both forgave each other. And it was like nothing ever happened. So I'm glad we had, can I go on lunch yet? Yeah.
You know something? It just goes to show that, you know, the way we see certain other people treating each other on YouTube, you know, life is short. Things do happen. And I don't want to live with regrets. So we need to live our lives in hopes that if someone we love, or even if we're fighting with them, if something were to happen to them tomorrow, you know, do you want to hold on to regrets?
And that's what people need to take from this. You don't know, when you've got someone up on your panel that you're bashing, you don't know what's going on in their real life. You don't know what they're suffering about. Like with me and her, I had no idea what she was going through, you know, and I look at all these messages for her. Does it take someone to pass away for you to see the value of a person? With some people it does, and it is sad, but that's the way it is.
We've lost a few YouTubers throughout the years, and you would think that, you know, more people would be like, oh, we need to stop this, you know, but it doesn't. It blows my mind.
It's gotten, I don't know if it for you, but for me, it's gotten to be like a slime hole
Mm-hmm.
sludge. I mean,
Cesspool. It's disgusting.
That's why, you know, Pink, when I go offline, I seriously, if I'm not watching something that I enjoy, I'm not watching anything, because I'm not going to sit there and watch people get bashed. I'm not going to go into a chat where people hate me, because it's not good for me or my mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to see anybody else, you know, I don't want to see anybody, even if I don't like that person, I don't want to see them get bashed. It doesn't matter if I like them or not. It just, I don't. And I think some of these people, and this is my problem with that, enjoy it. They enjoy it. And that's what my problem is with it.
And they've created an arena that even if you want to go somewhere just to say hi, and you don't even have to know what's going on,
Right.
you're automatically, you know, like, oh, you're on this side or you're on that side. They've created this arena of
you can't go in certain
you can't go anywhere.
No, I can't go in certain chats, and I absolutely know that. And I'm not disrupting anybody's chat just because I want to. But there's people on everywhere that I like, and I would love to be able to go into certain chats and say hello. But I know if I would do that, it would disrupt a chat, and I'm not going to do that. I mean, unless it's a neutral place, like your place is pretty much neutral. You have people from all sides in there. But there's chats I can't go into, and it's sad, but that's the way it is. And I've accepted that. So,
and we don't have to, you know, coexist. I mean, if you don't like somebody, leave them alone.
right.
I don't understand that this concept of, you know, if you hate, and I'm sorry, it is hate, because it used to always be, well, I don't hate anyone. And I look out, when I go out there once in a great while, I'm like, oh, this is hate. This is hate.
Well, I give you an example. There was a chat going on. I'm not going to say the name of the chat, but I had muted the creator or whatever it was. And I was watching the chat just to, you know, and the stream was not about me. It had nothing to do with me. And I was reading the chat, and all of a sudden I read this message: can we bash Carla Farla Doxer now?
Wow.
This isn't even about me, and this person is bringing me into this hate. And why? It wasn't even, it had nothing to do with me. But yeah, there we go again.
And plus, I don't want to be seen. It's so embarrassing. It's like, I don't know, it's so embarrassing to be part of that crap show.
And these people are like, after she said that, they were like, yeah, let's do that. Like, I'm like thinking, here we go. They want to do something that I am not going to participate. Look, when I go offline, I want to feel good about my life. I want to feel like I have done something productive, not something destructive. Even if it's just talking, like you do your sunset streams. Excuse me. I do my morning coffee. I don't necessarily have subjects. Today was different. We had a subject. But I don't want to feel bad when I go off and feel like, oh gosh, that was terrible. You know, I hurt some, because no matter whose feelings I hurt, I feel bad. I don't know. That's just me. Maybe because I'm an empath, or I feel bad about other people's feelings, no matter if I like them or not. I mean, I can dislike someone, but if I see that they're hurting, I'll feel bad for them. And I know that they probably don't feel bad for me, but that's okay.
And my problem I had in the past is, you know, I start feeling bad, no matter how awful their behavior is. There's a part of me that says, you know what, they have a real life. They're probably struggling. But then I go back in, and that's when I get into trouble, because I get hurt, you know. So I've learned just to completely avoid, completely disengage, and say, you know what, this truly isn't my problem. We can't fix everybody. Nothing I can say can make a difference, or for anyone to stop This
Do you think that, and this is what I try to try pound into people's head. If someone doesn't like me, they're not going to like me. I can stand up here on a pedestal and say, you got to like me. I didn't do this or I didn't do that.
right.
It's not going to change their mind. They've made up their mind. And I'm not about to try and change anybody's mind. They can have their hate. I just don't have to be a part of it. And so I'm not going to be.
Right. And when some people find out that, they're not liked or whatever, they spend more energy in trying to get people to like them. And it's like, just like in real life, in our neighborhoods, we might have a neighbor we can't stand. We hopefully stay away from them. Right. And it's okay. Not everyone is meant to be compatible.
Well, it's not, it's like the high school. I equate it to high school when the cool girls sat at this table and then the geeks sat at that table, and you went to sit on their table and they were like, no, you're not cool enough to sit at our table. And I'm like, okay, whatever. They're never going to like you no matter what. So it is what it is, and I'm not going to change anybody's mind, and I'm not even going to try, because if they don't want to get to know me as a person, then that's to me, that's their loss. And that sounds arrogant, I know, but it's their loss if they don't want to get to know me as a person, because I'm not a bad person.
Right. And if you disengage from it all, I promise you, it gets better. The longer you stay away from it and not involve yourself in it, or not do it as frequently, they'll forget about you eventually.
I know every once in a while, and you've done it too. I know you've done it. But every once in a while, things get to you, and you just blow your top.
Oh yeah.
And
I wouldn't say I blow. I mean, I don't go in. I'm like, damn it, no, you're not going to do this. Like, especially the people who I ignore and have, don't engage with, and then they bring you up, and it's like,
right. Well, like I said, like about bringing me up in that chat, can we drag Carla Farley here? And there's people in there saying, yeah, let's do that. Like, it's like they're looking, it's like a bunch of vultures looking for someone to attack on a panel. And I happen to be the person that person brought up. And I'm not going to bring up her name, because I was just like, thinking to myself, this is pathetic. You're pathetic.
Yeah.
You don't know me. You have no idea who I am, and you don't want to know me. So I don't want to know you. And
exactly. You don't want to associate with those type of people. And
they're hateful, awful.
Yeah. It's just the need for even the negative attention that some people strive for. I don't understand it.
And I think sometimes it's about, who can I impress with my hate? You know what I mean? Like, can I impress this creator by pushing that name out there and saying that I hate this person? And I'm thinking that is so pathetic. Like, it just shows how pathetic you are.
And someone like Morbid, I will remember her for that smile, that laugh, her positivity. She didn't like drama.
She didn't.
That's how I remember her, and I will always remember her for. Put out there on your channels what you want. Do you want to be remembered for being a shit stirrer and being cruel and going after people? And I don't want to be remembered for that.
I think some people do. And I want to feel good, actually, Pink. When I go off my live stream, I want to feel good. Yeah. I want to feel good that I had a productive, positive live stream. People were happy. And believe it or not, even though I don't get a lot of people, I sure don't get hundreds of people in my stream. But the people that come in here talk, they engage.
It's quality.
And they say to me, it's a place to go where every once in a while I have drama, but not very.
It's okay, but we're talking the level of is just, and it affects people, and
no.
And these people who are doing it are affecting people.
And I'm surprised at how many people do say that to me. We're just so sick of this. Well, then stop going there. Like you're the only one that can, stop this from happening, and that's by just not watching. Like I
Right.
can't tell you not to go to some place and not watch. You have
Or they'll
to
say, I don't watch, but I get clips and I get this. Well, tell people to stop doing it.
yeah.
I'm tired of hearing, I don't go there, but I got an email or I got a clip. What I did, a year or so ago was I told people to stop sending me clips.
Right.
Or if someone changed their channel or whatever. I said, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. You control your own sales. And if you don't like it, don't watch it. Don't engage in everything. And it's pretty easy to do, but it depends how bad you want it,
That's exactly what I've done. I've told my friends, and because they would come into my my Discord and say, oh, you go over there, they're talking about. Don't tell me, I don't want to know. And I wouldn't know, because I have unsubbed. Pink, you would not believe how many people I have unsubbed on this platform just because of the low people go on here. And I don't really care, I don't miss it. How can I miss something that is not good for me to watch? So I don't miss it. And they can have that. Like, they can have it. If they feel good about it, they feel good about getting money to completely bash somebody. Well, that's on them. It's not on me.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like I said, you're in control of your own channel. The excuses of, if someone's going to come on your live and be disrespectful or whatever, you have control of that. You just get them off or whatever. I've learned that we all can do better. But it's how we run our own channels. And
right.
I'm not out for, hundreds and hundreds of people to come in my chat. I enjoy the people that come in.
Well, here's the thing. The less people you have come into your chat, and I've noticed this too, because, here's the thing. As soon as there's any bit of drama, I'll have 100 people in my stream. They're people that are coming here to see craziness and hatefulness, and I don't want that. The ones that come in the morning, they're the ones that want to talk and joke, and they're the ones I want in my stream. I don't care if I have not that many people in here. I really don't.
And there are some people who, maybe rely on income for YouTube, but this isn't, these channels aren't really growing. This isn't the way to do it, because it will affect your health eventually. Mm-hmm. And there are so many channels out there that do positive videos that have hundreds and thousands of subscribers, mm-hmm. who probably paid a lot better than drama and hurting people. So if you're in it to, get a little bit of extra money,
if you're in it to make,
there's other ways to get it that are more satisfying.
If you notice, if you're in it to make money, the ones that make the most money, I think, my what I've observed, are the ones that have absolutely no drama. Right. They have short videos of like 15 or 20 minutes with content, and like I watch one, it's Simple Living Alaska, Tiny House Living, you know what I mean? And these videos are not more than half an hour. And they're the ones I think that grow the most, because, mm-hmm. They're actually giving you something, and you watch the whole thing.
Right. There's more, I was going to say, there's more engagement, mm-hmm. which hits the algorithms more effectively than these 3, 4, 5, 6 hour lives.
When you do live streams, you're not going to get as much traffic as you do if you did short videos about, like, some kind of content like these, that's what I've noticed anyways. And the shorter, like 15 minutes to 20 minutes, I believe, will keep your attention. Any longer than that, because I know people come in here and leave, and they come back and then they leave because, because sometimes I'm on for an hour and a half and it's just, too long for some people.
Mm-hmm.
But
Bye,
yeah.
Lou.
Okay, bye, Lou. Thank you for
Yeah.
coming in. But
Does
yeah.
anyone have any questions on ECT?
Yeah, we kind of got sidetracked there.
Yeah, no, but I'm glad we talked a little bit about that.
Well, actually, I'd like to do this again because I actually have someone that wants to come up that's actually been through that, has experienced it. So if we could do that again, like if I can like get in touch with her and have her come up on the panel and she can tell us actually firsthand what her experiences were.
Yes, that would be great.
And we can talk again about it. So if you wouldn't mind. Like I said, I don't pretend to know anything. I researched it. That's all I did. I just researched or watched many, many videos about it. And because I wanted to know what I was, at least a semblance of what I was talking about.
You did very well. You
Thank
did very well. Yeah.
I tried.
No, you did very well.
And that
Angela, I agree. Yeah.
Broadway play I was telling you, not quite normal or not. What is it called? Hang on. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, I want to check that out.
Next to Normal. It's a Broadway musical, believe it or not.
I never heard of it.
No, I hadn't either. And in the course of researching all this, is where I found out, and they said it really, because they had two medical professionals on the panel, and they said it really depicts electroconvulsive therapy very well, believe it or not, in a musical. So
Angie from New Jersey is going to do a video on wallpaper removal, and you'll probably get a lot of views. Just make sure you tag.
Yeah.
Wallpaper removal, wallpaper.
Yeah.
Get some keywords in there, and you'll get people. I mean, when something like, what was it I looked up the other day? Something about my vehicle. Was it my vehicle, or I don't know, how to fix something? And it was a short video from either an electrician or a plumber, whoever, or a mechanic, and there were hundreds and thousands of views on it.
Yeah.
And it was helpful. It was helpful.
Yeah. It's yeah. And I do that too. Like if I want to find, I don't even look in cookbooks anymore. I go on YouTube and I type in whatever recipe I want to find, and hundreds of recipes come up of the same thing, and I just pick out what I want.
Yeah, Angela Critters does cooking.
Do you?
Yes, someone dropped her link. Yeah.
I love watching cooking shows. That's one of my passions. And yeah, my tiny house videos, that's kind of one of my favorite. I'm kind of backing off of I'm backing off of crime for a while because it's too much. It's just been too much about kids, and I can't do it.
And then the drama, it's like, what do they call it? Crama,
yeah.
It's just not, yeah, I don't hardly watch that anymore. I got interested in, what was that guy, the investigator or whatever his name is, but then it became drama.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, unsubscribe.
Yeah. Yeah, as soon as it's like, I just don't want to.
They don't stick with the crime, and then it's too much speculation. I mean,
well, the one, if you notice, the crime channels that do the best are the ones that put up a video. They put up a video. There's no live streams. They just put up a video, and they're the ones that do the best. I don't care what anybody says. They're the channels that do the best. They're the channels that grow. They've got 1 million+ subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
That's because they stick to one subject. They're good at storytelling. I'm really bad at telling a story, but I hope I did okay today. I
You
tried.
did great.
I really did.
Great. Hearts for Carla. She did excellent.
Thank you. I wanted you to be proud of me because I'm like, oh, I need to really, because I had no, you know what, from a couple of months ago, I had no idea they still did that. I thought that was like barbaric, and it's really not. It's really not. And
Right.
I watched many videos about it, and it was like, yeah, it really does help people.
It does. It does. And like I said earlier, there's promise in mental health. We may not all agree on particular treatments, but there's studies still in now with the magnetic treatments is being looked into.
Uh-huh.
So, just when you think mental health is failing us, they aren't. There are people out there who still are working towards, a greater mental health care system. And
Right.
unfortunately, the government, with their cuts, I don't know why they keep cutting mental health. It's a shame.
I guess they don't feel it as a physical.
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know why, at least here, mental health is the first place to get cut. The psych unit, the hospitals. I don't understand.
I think they think it's not life-threatening, but oh, they'd be wrong. It is so life-threatening.
Right, but if you walk with a limp, everybody'd be like, "Oh, you need to get that checked out." But when we have that metaphor of a limp or something wrong in our brains that's unseen necessarily, it's not always physical, right?
No,
it's ignored.
It does.
So, your live streams like this are helpful, and it just brings in. I hope people in chat learn something.
I hope so.
I don't agree with it, but at least
Yeah, and like we said too, and I mean, neither of us are an expert on this, but it's not for everybody. It's like, from what I understand, it's when conventional treatments aren't working for people, and their doctor has recommended this for them, and that's what I understand from from the research I did. So I'm not pretending to know anything, because I just know what I know. But yeah.
Right. Yeah. You're a doctor, and also you advocate for your own self too. Look up information on reputable sites, of course, and gather as much information as you can. So, when you present yourself to your doctor or psychiatrist, have questions and, gather facts and make your own decision.
Right.
And involve, if your family is supportive, involve your family.
Exactly.
In the whole process. So yeah, this was a great live. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and we'll because I want to have that other girl. There was a couple in my chat today, and we'll have them up on panel, and we'll talk more, because it would be really interesting to me to have someone that's actually gone through that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think I think that would be very interesting. So
even if someone, went through it and they weren't happy with it, or
because it's two ways. I mean, it's like they said, 70% is effective. So there's 30% that's like the one I watched. It was not effective for her. She said it didn't help her, but it helped.
Did she say it didn't help her at all?
No, it didn't help her at all.
Yeah.
But neither did conventional treatment. So I don't know it didn't really go into what she's doing now for that. But yeah. So I'll send you that video of her, though.
Yeah, please.
I'll send you the link to that. It's very interesting to watch. But I think I'm done for today, and we'll.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, chat. It's good to see everyone. I've been reading chat, so
if I do this again, will you come up and we'll talk about it again?
Absolutely. Wednesdays, like around this time, are usually a good day.
Okay.
I'm off on most Wednesdays.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll plan ahead and coordinate
Yeah.
something. Definitely. Yeah.
Okay. Or at night. I mean, I'm open. I could do night live streams too. Like it doesn't have to be just during the day. So, but thank you so much for coming in. It was very, very
For having
interesting.
me, Carla.
I
Yeah.
know I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot in the course of researching this.
Me too. Me
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
It's a win-win. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it is a win because, like I said, knowledge is power, and when you know what you're dealing with. So, and who knows? I might not even need that someday. Who knows? I don't know.
Right. And next time, if I hear someone bringing it up in my life or whatever, I have a better understanding of it.
Yeah, me too.
I did my homework last night when I got home. I'm like, I got homework to do. I got my highlighter out and everything.
My understanding was I was picturing them giving someone shock treatment and them like shaking, and like it wasn't like that at all. So I had a completely convoluted view of what it was. So.
Yeah, I didn't realize that it was under general anesthesia now.
I
I knew it was a little bit more humane, but I always thought you were still conscious for it. So I learned a lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was very interesting. I watched so many documentaries on it. And that's like that Broadway musical, and it's really funny to say a Broadway musical called Next to Normal. So it's there's a few of them up there, so it's up there. So
okay,
that's very interesting.
All right. Well, everyone have a wonderful day. Carla, thank you for having me.
I really appreciate you coming up.
You're welcome.
You have a great day.
Thank you. You as well.
And keep in touch. I promise I will answer my text.
Fix your phone.
I know. But you know what I've been doing lately is checking all my texts to see if I'm getting text messages. I should get a different phone is what I should get, because there's something wrong.
Christmas is coming. You can ask Santa for a new phone.
Yeah. My birthday's coming too.
When's your birthday?
October 13th.
Ooh.
Yeah. I know. It's coming.
Happy almost birthday. And I'll be going to Salem this year because last year they basically shut down Salem because of COVID, even though people from all over the world showed up, believe it or not. But I didn't go. The year before that, when I went to the cemeteries in Salem, they had them closed because of a landscaping project, which was like right around Halloween. So this year I hope to go there again and show everyone around the historical parts of Salem, the cemeteries where the hangings were. Yeah, I've done it a couple of times. Yeah, I think I have a live of it a couple of years ago or 3 years ago on my channel.
I think I saw that.
Yeah.
Went to Salem. Yeah.
And who went last year? Maybe I did go last year.
I think a lot of I know Jenna Moon tried to go, and a lot of the stuff was closed down last year.
I went. That's right. I did go last year, but I believe I went at the beginning of October before and right after they closed it down. I didn't. That's when I went to the cemetery and they closed it for some landscaping project. But yes, that's right. I did go last year.
Yeah. I know she tried to. I mean, Jenna tried to, and there was a lot of stuff that you had to actually make an appointment to go see.
Right.
And other places were just completely closed down. So
yeah, I just walk around. I don't go into museums. To be honest with you, a lot of them are tourist traps. I mean, not all of them, but and they're expensive to go in there and just see a bunch of mannequins. But I like to walk around and show like the historical buildings, houses, the graveyards where the hangings were. They have right next to the cemetery, they have bricks And in each of the bricks are the last words of those who were alleged to be witches. You know, before they were killed, they had their last words etched in the bricks.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's creepy.
yeah,
It's really creepy.
Judge Hawthorne's grave is up there. He was the judge at the trials.
I think I watched a show on here, something about voices from beyond or something called, and I think he went to the graveyard, a graveyard in that was supposedly haunted in Salem, and it was some of the graves from the Salem witch trials,
Mm-hmm.
where these people were horribly killed. Because I think some of them had the choice, like either they would be drowned, and if they survived, they were witches, and if they drowned, they were, I don't know, I can't remember what
And
it was.
there were male witches that were
Yeah.
put on trial and killed. Yes, there were a couple of male witches, and I even know where the house was. This all started from a little rumor that two young girls started.
Right.
A rumor, as far as that they were involved in bad things and casting bad spells on people. And that's how far rumors go. So not
see, be careful what you say to people.
That's right.
Because it could be a very bad thing for people. Yeah,
right. Mind your business. I always say, unless it affects your breathing, mind your business. Because you get yourself into too much trouble when you're around gossip. Okay, I think I'm out.
No, I
you're out.
Myself out.
I'm still out.
Knock myself out.
Grab the rope. All right, I'm gonna bounce down. Thank you,
guys.
Have a good day.
All right, you have a great day.
Thank you. Bye, Carla.
Bye. Bye, everybody. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate that. I know there's not very many left. I probably bored you. Look at me. I'm a mess. I'm a mess. So take care. Bye, everybody.